Hello, everyone, and welcome. Don't you miss the old intro? I kind of miss the old intro, but it's charming to see it again. I figure I'd use it from time to time. Welcome to everyone, and a special welcome to Eric Miller, John Manuel, and Phil Munson, who are our newest members to the channel. Thank you very much for joining the channel. And channel memberships are now open, so you can certainly feel free to join. Lots of fun, different things going on. And a special hello to John, who's with us now. John, hope you're all well. I see Jay Hartman's here, Gino's here. Hello, everyone. So we got an interesting show for you tonight. We're going to cover a bunch of different things about pens, about the channel, about things that are coming up and things that are going on, and try to keep it breezy and interesting and everything else. I see Simon has joined us. I'm going to try dropping a comment on here. I want to see if this works. See, I'm trying to get it where we can see these comments, and I think they'll fade on their own. So John Manuel's here. He's a huge friend of the channel. Nice to see you, my friend. Also, one more thing. Huge best wishes to Wolverine 3660. We're thinking about you, buddy. Want to make sure I say it early in the show so that you see it. So hello, everyone. I see Joe shows here. Okay, I got to start talking. I could say hello all evening, but I wanted to begin by saying a few things. I think I'll start with a pen item. So right now I am doing a video on the Esterbrook SD oversize with the SD Flex nib. And I'm going to have a lot of different thoughts on it, on the nib specifically. We spoke about the Esterbrook SD before. You guys know I love that pen. It is a fantastic pen. And the SD Flex is a really interesting nib. And I have a lot to say about it. I do have it here, which is great. I didn't think I had it, but I do have it here. It's in this incredible Nouveau blue finish. Just an absolutely gorgeous pen. And the SD Flex nib on there for good measure. By the way, how much do you love these Esterbrook sleeves? These are very, very cool. So I've been writing with it. I think anytime I do a review, I really like to get as familiar as I can with whichever pen it is. And I make it my number one pen for a couple weeks. And I do write with different pens during the day, and sometimes in different situations. I'll bring one to work, and I journal so much that I really get a lot of use out of pens. And one of the ways that I know that I use a pen so much and so often is how quickly I go through ink. Like you guys know, I have a lot of inks, but the thing is I run out of it pretty quickly on the different types of inks I use, especially the ones that I'm really focused on, like J. Urban's Sapphire that I use quite a bit, or Diamine Oxblood. By the way, I love that I can say Diamine Oxblood. Did you know I can't say that on TikTok? Every time I say Oxblood on TikTok, my live shuts and I get a community violation for the name of an ink, which is really strange. So I've used a lot of euphemistic language to talk about that particular ink. So it's very freeing being here on YouTube and to be able to say Diamine Oxblood. So one of my favorite inks. But so the Esterbrook SD oversize, which really suits my larger hands. I'm not going to say I have gigantic or catcher mitt hands, but they're fairly large hands. And the oversize feels really, really comfortable, which is really nice. And this particular review is really going to get on the idea of a flex nib, which is a thread that you guys have seen me follow through my whole fountain pen career, and especially my career here on YouTube, where I'm always pursuing this idea of flex nibs and how they're used and what's the ultimate flex nib, and when I'm disappointed, as I have been with like the Mont Blanc 146, pleasantly surprised by the fountain pen revolution, and now this SD Flex, which will be up in a couple of weeks. So it should be a very interesting riveting review. I hope you guys get to see that and keep an eye out for it. So Simon's asking, do you typically fill your pens completely, or do you fill them less so you can try more inks more often? I'll be honest, I fill them as full as I can, and there are times when I'm like, oh man, I wish it would just finish. Twisbys take forever to go through ink. They hold so much ink, and so do like the Pilot Custom 823. That pen holds so much ink. I believe I have Ancient Copper in it right now, and it still has a good bit. And I put that in probably a month and a half ago, and I write with that pen a lot. That pen is stellar. So that's really the best way I could answer that one for you. So I want to talk a little bit about the channel and kind of our vibe here, right? So I'm talking about following threads through many videos. These videos are almost to be taken sequentially. There's a conversation that happens. There's an unboxing sometimes that'll happen. And then the review happens. And usually so much is drawn in beside just a pen review. I rarely do straight up episodes of any kind. I actually just filmed one where I organized my entire pen collection. And it's pretty much exactly as I criticize other people for. So it's great that if you live long enough, you live long enough to become a contradiction sometimes, but that's okay. So I didn't do two camera angles. It's me, and then I organize my pen collection. I don't get into every pen, but you see a pretty good overview. A couple of pens didn't make it. They were at the office, like my hover pen was at my office. My super mega Monteverdi was at the office, and my Lilliput was in my bag. But pretty much everything else, except for some like off-site Filiuses and Etchers and a few other niche pens, didn't make it. So it should be an interesting episode, but it's about as ordinary an episode that I make. So I try to steer away from straight up pen reviews. I feel like to you guys, you're not getting a lot of value out of a pen review unless you're curious about the pen or you plan on buying it. And I think there are these pens that are perennially discussed on this channel, things like the Pilot Custom 823, the Mont Blanc 823. I'm sure other channels must talk about them. Try not to watch other channels because I want to keep this fresh. So I'm really doing my own thing. So I'm trying to steer clear from these sort of, this is a pen. It's long. It writes nice. I mean, how many different ways can you talk about the length of a pen, the weight, and all that? And how much do you need to know that? I think it does sometimes come into play. Hello, Judy. And sometimes it doesn't. I think if a pen is remarkably light or remarkably heavy, it's notable. But for me, it's more about the associations of the pen, the history, the romance. Who are you when you're writing with it? What does it do for you? What are the features? What does it do that other pens can't? Or what is it about it that makes it special or mysterious or interesting or compelling or one that you simply have to try? Like all of you, everywhere, you have to try the Pilot Custom 823. If you haven't written with it, you need to go to a place, a stationery store, a pen shop, whichever's near you. Here in Boston, we have Apple Boom, however one says it. If you're in Chicago, go to Atlas Stationers. Wherever you can get your hands on it, try that pen. It's amazing. One of the best nibs out there. Seek it. So the other thing about the channel is it's not really made in a way for YouTube. And maybe that's true for a lot of fountain pen content. I'm not sure the fountain pen sensibility is very YouTube algorithm friendly. I watch Goulet each Friday morning. I watch most of their show. I skip over like the personal stuff, but I watch all the pen content. And I feel like they are very deliberative. They go very deep into subjects. They take their time. The opening of the show is very breezy and casual. It takes time though. YouTube, and I watch a lot of these videos because we're all sensitive to it as creators. I mean, we all wish we had 1 million subscribers that loved everything we put up, and it's just not the way it is. So you watch these YouTube channels that talk about how to get more people interested in what you post and all this, and they're often say like 3-second intros, and you need fast cuts, and you need to do these radical zooms, and you need to be funny, and it helps to do stunts. Like if I started a fountain, this is the sad part, right? If I started a fountain pen channel where I took fountain pens and I squirted ink at people, or I took them out in the backyard and I used a little bit of like, I don't know, gunpowder and made up and, I don't know, like destroyed them, hit them with hammers, something crazy like that, it would probably be the #1 fountain pen show, because that's kind of what YouTube likes. The algorithm likes quickness, it likes excitement, it likes um, it likes controversy a bit. And I feel like here we're doing something a little different. It takes a bit of time to get going. Now, I did change some things, like the intro I used to do. I used to do the intro I put at the beginning of this show. I still miss that intro. It was very long, though, and it was actually longer than the one I just played. And then it would trail out, and I'd show different shots of different pens, not necessarily the one we were speaking about. And then often I would do a pen check, and I did a mini review of that pen. And then I did another intro, and then I'd start talking about the pen. So it was about 3 minutes in before I got started. So I feel like that is too long. So I think between launching fountain pens into space and my 4 minutes till I speak about anything, there was a middle ground. And I feel like we're about there now. So I'm trying to separate the straightforward content, like how to wash a pen, how to fill a pen, which are the best pens for X or whatever, into the Hemingway Presents line. So that it's this quicker, it's like 5 or 6 minutes. Is that really quick? But, quicker, more pared down presentation. And then each Thursday, you get more of what I call my films. I'm aspiring toward film. Doesn't mean I've got there yet, but I'm aspiring to that. And my inspiration for these videos that I put up is, I'll tell you what my inspirations are. There's a chap who does watch reviews named Oisin O'Malley. He's one of my inspirations. Second is Anthony Bourdain and his show on CNN. And then Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear. So that's kind of how I'm approaching my Thursday material. But I also lean into being myself. So I tend to be a bit flowery in my language. I think in my speech I am a bit. Certainly when I write a script for a video, it's very ornate. And I've decided to lean into that. I've decided that for me to be me and to differentiate myself, I just need to be more of that. I just more of the perfect phrase, something compelling and interesting, something where you say, oh, that's an interesting way to put that. Or that's, because otherwise I'll just be drawing curlicues on a page and you'll just see my disembodied hand, just drawing. You guys don't want that. You want to be entertained. You want something new and fresh and interesting. So that's how I'm viewing this, and that's how I'm going to approach it going forward. So with that, I think it makes it interesting because you guys get to see multiple threads through different videos. And one of them has been my flex nib journey, my disappointments, my aspirations, my you know, detours and all that. And I think that makes for compelling watching, because if I were to just tell you guys what you want to hear, I think you would get the disingenuous in my presentation, disingenuousness in my presentation and in my voice. So I think that is what I need to be. I need to be as honest as I can with you guys. And along with that, even when someone sends a pen um, for me to do a review, I can't hold back. I won't. I have to be honest with you guys. And Judy, thanks for that. The feedback you guys give me means the world to me. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for all of that. So yeah, we're just going to be moving in that direction. So I think it's good to take our time and to do thorough reviews and to give you guys compelling B-roll, because I don't want you to be bored. And when I sampled other fountain pen content, which will remain nameless, a lot of it was really boring. And I want to differentiate ourselves by making our comment section really lively and interesting. And that's why I spend a lot of time in the comments. I think you guys noticed that. And the second reason is that I just want it just to be fun, and you guys to be inspired and intrigued when you watch our stuff. So the other thing, and this is another theme, it's like we're the channel is like a search for meaning beyond just pens. A pen is such a basic thing that it can be, you can induce the whole world from it, or extrapolate from the simple to the complex. And a pen is so important in regard to what you do with it, how you make a mark, and how making a mark changes you, how you commit an idea to ink on paper and convey it to another person or to yourself. These are important things. And I think that the pen facilitates that and inspires a certain thing from you when you embrace it as both just a pen and more than just a pen. And I think that's part of the excitement of this channel. But I will say, I do feel a bit guilty sometimes that it might come across as too materialistic, because I don't want to put you guys into the mindset that you're seeking new items any more than necessary, because I do this too. I mean, maybe I'm projecting here, so I'm just going to own it for myself. I'm not going to say you guys, I'm going to own this for myself. It's not about buying the next pen, it's about having the next experience. You get curious about a pen, you want to know how it writes, or you've tried all of a certain type and now you need to try the next thing. Or you're happy for a while with the one you have, and you're going to do a huge dive with it, a huge you know, like set of experiences with it. You're going to take it on vacation, you're going to journal with it, you're going to take it to work, all of that. I kind of respect the one pen user. I did that for a few years. I used only my Mont Blanc 149 for a few years, and I was really into it, and I think that's why I have so much affection for that pen. You know, it's not fanboy. It's it's based on all the time I've spent with it. I'm seeing a lot of love for Anthony Bourdain in the comments, and I agree with this. You know, I really liked how he presented a place, and he was very fresh in looking at a place and trying to understand it, and didn't come from that sort of I'm a lofty American and I'm abroad and I'm like better than this situation. It wasn't that. It was like I'm humble and I want to learn. I want to see something different. And I did like that about Anthony Bourdain. There was a sadness to him at times too, that I think we all feel, that kind of restlessness in trying for something bigger. So I guess if we're out to impress each other, it's not with which pens we bought. I think it's with our experiences. It's with our knowledge and our generosity and who we are as people. And with that, I welcome everyone to this channel. I welcome everyone to the conversation. I just love the different voices, and I feel like we have such a great group. So I really appreciate that. John Manuel says I've never been materialistic. I appreciate that. I hope that's true. I do. I try not to be. So Kaylee's here. I actually remembered how to pronounce her name, but I don't see her in the comments. Oh, there she is. Hey, Kaylee, how are you? Here's Kaylee, so you guys know how to pronounce her name. So very good stuff. I think these pens should give us joy. Otherwise, what good are they? And I also feel like we should take them out into the world. I feel like a fountain pen is kind of sad when it's sitting on your desk, alone in the dark. It should get like, look at this thing. This is one of those mad pens. This is the Bennu Ambrosia in brown orchid. Ooh, we can do the ASMR. It's a good noise. So purple, sparkly. These are delightfully ridiculous. And I love this pen. My favorite thing about it, by the way, the Schmidt nib is very nice. It's not super special, but the pen is super special. But this is what I really like. I'm getting used to this, by the way. It gives me a reverse image, which is actually nice because you can read my books. But I'm trying to find where the camera is. There it is. Look at that. Like it looks like amber. So very cool. So by the way, why is this close? There's a couple reasons why this is close. So I don't know what converter fits this. And I didn't play around with the ones I have. I simply took the cartridge that came with it and I just squirt more ink in there. I mean, it's obviously short. I mean, could I get a Con 40 in there? I don't know. But it's really easy to just use an ink syringe and fill it up, the cartridge that's in there. So that's what I've been doing. I did that recently. I got some ink on my hand and I posted it on TikTok, which was super fun. But this pen I'm going to do a review of very soon. And it's a crazy pen. It's just crazy. And I love it because it's crazy. Talk about new experiences. For one thing, it doesn't fit in my pen holders very well. It doesn't particularly fit in your pocket very well. But boy, is it fun to journal with. And when you think about inspiring you, you look at these sparkles and the sort of pixie magic and the bit of like fairy dust that seems to be sprinkled on there. And that just might be a theme in my review. This is a pretty spectacular pen and a lot of fun. So we're going to get into that. That's coming up. Does anybody have one of these? Anybody a big Bennu fan? I know they moved from Russia to, Armenia, I believe. So that's good stuff. Let me see. Kaylee's got a comment. I don't know, Hemingway. That's sort of part of a hobby that involves collecting. Obviously, there are degrees, but I wouldn't worry too much about appearing too materialistic. Well, I appreciate that. I do. I think where it gets to be a problem is when you don't enjoy what you have and you're always looking for the next thing. I think it's fine to have things and own things. And I'm very fortunate in that a lot of my pens are just sent to me. So I don't have that whole, price problem because some of them are sent. But you definitely just have to enjoy them and not let them collect dusts if you can. I think that's important. So I want to make a couple of announcements early in the show. One is we are 1 week away from my first interview, which I'm really excited about and I'm really, really nervous about. Wolf has multiple Bennu pens. How you doing? Nice to see you. We met at the pen show. I am so excited. In 1 week, Brian Holzer's going to join us from Esterbrook. It's going to be my first interview. I have the software already. It should work. I am actually thinking of doing a live in the members area where I'll give the link to a member and we'll do an interview just to practice because I haven't done it. Well, I did it with my wife, so I think it works. Um, Late at night, a live went up between my wife and I for about a minute, and almost, no one caught it, but it was up there. But so Brian Holzer is going to join us from Esterbrook. Have a lot of really good questions for him. We're going to do a light interview. I'm really curious about their design process, how they go from concept to execution, a bit about his own personal pen collection, how he journals. I'm always interested in hearing how you guys use these things. And it's no different when you get somebody who, is instrumental in the community. I'm really curious about how they actually use the pen. So that's pretty exciting. Plus, he's a great guy with a lot of knowledge and a fantastic company. So come up with good questions and tune in. I'm going to put the link up early for that just so you guys can see that it's coming. It'll be this time again, but next week, November 1st. So it should be very, very good. My other announcement is for those of you that are interested in becoming a producer of this channel, there are 3 membership tiers available. And you can go, I believe if you go to my homepage, there's a join button. And you can click on that and it'll give you all the different details. And I'm always trying to put more content up for you guys and different things. I just added an email address and it's a priority email address that goes right to me. So I'll see it and I'll answer you back as quickly as I can. So I believe that's at the Illuminati level, you get an email on, there'll be a few other things. I'm going to put up some bonus like blooper reels back there. It's kind of funny when I mess up. And I think I told you guys before, I do have a little bit of a speech impediment. And I do get tripped up a lot when I'm trying to do my voiceovers. And I recently had such a time with totalitarian. And I didn't save it. I wish I had, but it was like 6 takes of me trying to say that. And then you have to try to say it in a pleasant voice after you've messed it up like 5 times. So bloopers could be fun. So that's in the membership area. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys on the other side as well. And that definitely helps with the channel. Some of my expenses are going up in regards to the channel. This software we're using now has a cost. You have to subscribe each month, but it's great. I mean, I'm going to put a comment up here. Look at this. Now you can see your comments. How great is that? And hopefully you can hear me very well. And you can also, with this, I can put Brian Holzer split screen and he and I will have a fantastic interview next week. So it gives us a lot of really great stuff that we can do and bring back to the channel. So the producers help. Thank you. Thank you for those that have become members already. You get a special badge so I can see and all of that. It's just a huge, huge help to me in the channel. So thanks for that. And also B-roll is expensive when I have to buy it. I was even thinking of dressing up as Churchill to get some B-roll because a lot of it's in the public domain, but a lot of it, like a lot of what I wanted, I'm like, okay, how can I film some Spitfires? Can I get models? And like I'm getting carried away, but that's for an upcoming review of the Conway Stewart fountain pen. I'm going to make this so interesting, compelling, and beautiful. The pen is unbelievable, guys. I can't wait to share that with you. It's going to be pretty spectacular. So that's coming too in a couple weeks. So I'm trying to keep it really, really interesting. So, okay. So Shaq MD is asking, what is the monthly cost? So the monthly cost for the software is $40 for the software. So it's not hugely expensive, but I think I'm very entrepreneurial. So when I create an enterprise, I just want it to at least net, you know, or to cash flow positively if possible. So, but the software is like $40. But what really kills you is that some of the B roll, each clip is like $300 if you get them from some of these services. And you have to be careful. You can't pirate clips. They either have to be in the public domain or you get the B-roll from like a B-roll service. So that adds up quickly. So I'm trying to film as much as I can myself, and I think it's going well. So another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is like, where is the best place to write? Like, where do you guys really enjoy it? Because I'm thinking, like, for me, I love journaling someplace like my home office, right? You only get to see a side. This is my desk, and my work computer's right here, and then I do some editing here, and all my books are here, and my journals are right behind me. But on the other side of my room is a really nice, cozy green chair with a bit of sheepskin on it, and a really nice, comfy pillow, and a table beside it. And I love to either in the evening have a glass of wine or to have something like that and sit down. Wow, look at that. Shaq MD, look at you. Thank you so much. You are the man. Shaq MD, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic chat. Look at that. So, thank you. Thank you, Shaq. So, when you have those quiet moments where you're wrapped in a wool blanket and you're having your coffee and journaling and you're just so centered, and I think there you're at the center of your world, your mind is engaged, and I think it's just the best time to write. How do you guys feel about that? um, I'm just curious what you guys do. I'm seeing some suggestions here. Thomas Hickey's similar to me. This is my desk in my home office, but I'm usually in the chair on the other side. So that's pretty great. Wolf likes Revere Beach. That's a great spot, you guys. If you're not from Massachusetts, Revere Beach is often malaligned, criticized for being not cool or whatever. Whatever. I love Revere Beach. There's great roast beef, and there's a beautiful beach area that you can sit. Nancy Late. No, some people are having trouble with the join button. So I don't know why it wouldn't be showing up for some. I know Judy's mentioned that too. It should be, I believe if you do youtube.com/Hemingway Jones/join, I think it comes up. And it's supposed to be on the homepage right next to subscribe. Maybe try refreshing. I'm not sure. Try a different device. I'm just not sure. So I'm going to put Shaq MD up again. Thank you very much. Shaq MD, huge friend of the channel. Thank you for that. Kaylee has a suggestion about joining, saying, on my screen, it's right below the video, below HJ's hand. So, which hand? One here or there? Between his pick and the channel name and the subscribe box. So that's where it is, Kaylee says. Below the video, below my hand, between his pick and the channel name and the subscribed box. Because it should be subscribed. And I hope you're all subscribed. If not, I hope you'll consider it. Evan likes to journal everywhere. There's a nice forest near you. You love the journal there. Evan, that is awesome because, like, I'm famous for journaling anywhere because I write so lightly. I can journal standing up. And I spend a lot of my time waiting because we have a 5-year-old and she'll play at the playground, or sometimes we'll go someplace and there's just a lot of waiting, and I often have the journal I'm using now is quite small, so it's easy to pull out. I don't know what I'm going to do when I switch journals, by the way. I'm going to show you guys my next journal. This is my next journal. I'm not going to be pulling this out of my pocket, so that's going to change things a bit. But I am super excited to use this journal. and I'm probably maybe a week from filling up my other journal. I mean, you guys have seen this before, haven't you? This is the Bottega Obscura from Etsy. My favorite journal. Has this incredible binding. It has my actual initials on it, which he put on there very nicely. It's incredibly tooled. If you look, the leather has a nice texture to it. Do you see that grain? And even this paper has a nice texture. And then the paper's really nice. He uses different papers. And you can request fountain pen suitable papers and other papers. So just lovely work. And look how tight it is. I think that's a sign of how good it is. Pretty nice, right? I'm psyched to use this. I can't wait. I'll probably do a video on this. Maybe I'll do it for Hemingway Jones Presents. But I'm just so excited. So excited. So let me, so Evan, that is so great. I love to hear that. Jim Carter likes to journal at Barnes & Noble with a hot caramel macchiato. So that's a Starbucks, and that's good. That's a great place. And by the way, Barnes & Noble has some decent journals. This, I just showed you that one from Bottega Obscura. This is from Barnes & Noble, and it's about 55 bucks. And it's certainly not as nice as a Bottega Obscura, but it's not bad. It's a little wonky. I believe you call this splayed. This is called splaying, if my bookbinding terminology is correct. But for 50 bucks, it did the job. It's just not quite as beautiful as like this one from Bottega Obscura, which was one I filled up last year. I think it was last year. Let's look. Yeah, 2001. So by the way, guys, here's another inducement to get you to join the channel. I'm going to read journal entries, either during a live or on video for the members. So I thought that would be interesting. And I'm a little scared to do it, but I just think it would be really, really fun. And I really want to put myself out there more. I want to be more me, more open, and more, hopefully more interesting as a consequence. So if you join the channel, you'll get to see some of me reading journal entries. And I'll try to pick some interesting stuff. I'll go way back and I'll do some recent. Maybe I'll pick some like really emotional stuff, like when my daughter was born or something. Just, I don't want to share like, super duper personal special stuff, but some interesting stuff. I want to make it worth your while. So we'll definitely do that. Thomas Hickey has a comfy chair that's conducive to writing. Everyone needs that. Everyone needs that. My comfy chair is good too. I do it on the couch a lot. My wife and I are very selective about television. We do watch shows, but we don't just click through. My clicking through is on YouTube, and I watch a lot of watch content. I think I told you guys that. A lot of history content. There's this channel called Perspective that does art. I love. There's another one called Odyssey that does Roman history, Egyptian history. I love that. So that's kind of where I spend most of my time online. And when I'm watching television, I try to pick a show that's interesting and I stick to it. My wife and I just finished House of the Dragon, which was awesome. Like, the show was so good. And by the way, I was one of those that was totally disenfranchised by Game of Thrones series 7 and 8. And I said that I'm not watching this new show. I'm like, I don't care. They bungled it so poorly. I'm not interested in anything Game of Thrones. And especially since we know how it all ends up and it's not that interesting and it was kind of silly. So very disappointed with Game of Thrones. Decided abandon it. But House of Dragons came on and it had one huge benefit when it came out. You know what that was? There was nothing else on. It came out at the perfect time. I think it was either late August or early September, and nothing else was really on that was any good. And I think it was Sunday night or something, my wife and we're like, why don't we just give it a try? And I was just so impressed with it. And what I like about it is it's not particularly gratuitous. Violence seems to be more like an exclamation point. It seems to be either from out from left field, and I won't spoil it, guys. I'm not a spoiler. I'm not going to say anything about plots or anything. I'm talking broadest of strokes. So don't worry about that. No spoilers. But like the violence was like punctuation marks. It made things interesting. There's a lot of like really good character development. And I felt like they did more with character rather than impressing us. I feel like they could have made it easy by throwing a bunch of war on the screen and we would have watched, but we might not have been as satisfied. So, very impressed with that. And the reason I'm not watching so much television is, and this is something I've said before, and I think it's very important, we all need to be curators of our own minds. So, you have to like, what you put in there needs to be at a certain level. And I think House of Dragons hit my threshold. And some of the performances were incredible. Wolf is bringing up Matt Smith. We all know Matt Smith from Doctor Who. One of my favorite doctors, although David Tennant, and actually my favorite doctor. My favorite doctor is Tom Baker 4. So, Matt Smith, though, like you never saw him. Fantastic performance. And it's the whole show's full of great performances. Paddy Considine, I think that's his name. Unbelievable performance. So good, so moving, so well done. And Emma Darcy is fantastic. She's really compelling, fantastic voice. They are really compelling. Sorry about that. So Mummy Brown is also a big history YouTube fan as well. There is so much historical content out there. I always forget the name of the fellow that I really love. I think it's I can't remember, but he does Roman history, and he does it from such an interesting angle, like what Rome looked like in the year 550, and describes it in perfect detail. I love that. I really do. Evan Otto. I'd like to say I love this channel because of the interaction. It's always nice to interact with you. I struggle with anxiety, so when I do get anxious, I put on your videos to calm down. Evan, thanks so much, man. That means a lot to me. Thank you. And I'd suggest journaling might help. It's helped me. I still get anxious, if that means anything, you guys. You would laugh at me. Right before this show started, I had like a mini like anxiety attack. And it was like fear of my software dying or just like not knowing what to say sometimes. But once I get into the mode, it loosens up. And it takes a lot of practice. And I'm an old guy, so it took years for me to get confident. So, Evan, we're with you, buddy. We'll help hold you up. And when you get anxious, just turn me on this channel and we'll remind you that it won't always be this way. So don't worry. Kaylee says the join button is by my left hand. So just want to make sure that gets up there. Love to see a lot of you join the back office because then it inspires me to do even more stuff like read my journal entries to you. So I think you will appreciate that. Even though Gino, my friend, who I also met, said that could be embarrassing. It could be embarrassing, Gino, but remember, I have the benefit of choosing which passages I will read. But I'd like to read some interesting stuff. So I think I'm going to pick some things from years ago when I first started my journal. And I'm going to pick some like events and things. I would like how I named my daughter is really interesting. I'll tell that story too in the members area. So I'm also going to rely on you guys, especially the members, to bounce ideas and topics off of. So Evan Otto says journaling really does help. I think it does too. And one of the topics I'm going to do soon is whether or not you can journal your way out of trauma. And spoiler is that you probably can't really journal your way out of trauma, but it helps. And it helps a lot. I think action plans help, and I think journaling helps. I mean, those of us that had really rough childhoods and you're trying to distance yourself from them, I think when you sit down and you either reaffirm that you're safe now, that you're in a place where you're safe and you have loving people around you and everything's okay, or you want to dissect what happened, a journal is a perfect place to see it. And I know people who have written stories of tough childhoods and then burned the journal when they were done. So, whatever works for you, but it's in the writing, I think, where it frees you. And I know for me personally, I sometimes write my way out of depression. I know my triggers and I know the consequence of falling into that dark place. So that's part of the reason why I am so dedicated to writing. The funny thing about it all is that you never know where these things are going to take you. If you start a conversation in a journal, it could lead to an amazing place. And I don't know what that is for you. But for me, it made me a much better person. It helped me to let go of a lot of childhood angers, a lot of like, why couldn't things have been different isms and things like that. And to just embrace what is really good. And then I capitalized on that. And then I created sort of my own world, and my wife and I created this life for our daughter. And things are really good now as a consequence of making good choices. And the reason why I make good choices is I have 20 something years of bad choices and okay choices and good choices. And I got to see where each of them led. I got to follow the thread. And that's the power of journaling. That's the power. I sound like a TED talk. I need to write this. Like the power of journaling and a book by Hemingway Jones. So let's see what you guys are saying. James Fahey, Virginia Woolf was a great journal writer, and they provide insight into how she dealt with her mental illness. Yes, I mean, my only hesitancy when I say, like, can you write your way out of trauma? I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I'm a fountain pen user and a senior vice president at a bank. So it's not my area of expertise, but I think if you're getting professional help and you use a journal as a supplement, it can go really far in helping you to feel better. So that's my opinion. Mummy Brown says journaling truly is a godsend for me. I second that. It's really, really good. And Pomoster says, I was just going to say that. Filling and then tossing a journal can be cathartic. Indeed, I have a fire pit. So if you want to stop by, toss. I can't toss mine. I hold on to them. There's a lot of embarrassing stuff in there. Excuse me. A little bit of tea with honey. You guys know my voice. When we get near that hour mark, my voice starts to fail me. I want to put this comment up for Mummy Brown. Trauma journaler here. Yes, it does help greatly. It keeps me in good headspace. I agree. Me too. I mean, it really floats me above the darkness. But Mummy Brown, if you're anything like me, you always do see it, don't you? Like you see that hole. It's like there. You ignore it, but it's there. But we're up here, and that's good. But yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you there. So yeah, so good stuff. Evan says I should write a book. I want to. I have a bunch of ideas. I have done some research for a couple of them, but lately I've been writing a lot of fountain pen articles and a lot of articles for Stridewise. As you guys know, stridewise.com is hosting my articles. If you want to go over there, you can read sort of like articles that expand upon my videos, and they usually tie into the videos. And There's also articles on things like cowboy boots and leather bags and barber jackets and Filson buffalo plaid jackets. If you like that sort of thing as much as I do, and I do, then you can read those over there. So that would be good. Wolf says that she doesn't feel well when she's not writing. So that's another thing you can sort of correctly. So so good stuff, guys. I mean, I think journaling is very important. And if any of you um, need inspiration, send me a message and we'll try to get through it. So I'm going to talk about something else in the fountain pen world. And this is an idea. Maybe we can kick it around in the comments of this video. But I'm starting to think that a lot of nibs are designed for heavier hands. And what I mean by that is, like my Jinhao that I got recently, the X159, you try to write lightly with it, it doesn't want to. Some other pens are reluctant with a lighter touch. You have to work on them a little bit, and then they open up and they start to flow, and then you're like, okay, now I can. Is it possible that modern fountain pens are being tuned to heavier pressure writers? Could that be a thing? I'm curious about that. Maybe that's a question for Brian Holzer. Although I have to say, his are among the best with the light writing. Have you guys used an Esty? They're Yovo nibs that are made for them, and I want to talk to them a bit about that. I think they're so perfectly matched to their feeds. They just flow so liberally. You get such a beautiful inky line that almost never tires. I've was flexing my SD Flex today and trying to get it to railroad. Now I don't go huge because springing tines is no fun, and I've done that once in my life, and I hope to never do it again. But I couldn't get the thing to railroad, so I love the flow of an SD nib. So Thomas Hickey has a point about nibs, and it's that you compare steel versus gold small handwriting. Well, it's really funny, right? Sometimes when you look at something and you really start to think about it, the lines start to disappear. So, say if you made a chart and you talked about nibs in regards to things like flexibility, smoothness, precision, there are some things that gold affords you that steel does not. Yet, there are steel nibs that are just as smooth as any gold. And I'll give you a couple examples of what gold can do. The flexible gold nib on the Mont Blanc Egyptomania is nearly identical to a Waterman 52, except it doesn't have the line variation, which sounds bizarre, but it flexes, it has the same softness, but it's more like a cushioned writing experience where it doesn't have thin to fat in the writing. But that nib is unique and amazing to write with. Only gold can give you that. So I say that, and then I realize that the Waterman 52s had steel nibs. So it's baffling. The Piniter quill nib is gold, and it's flexy and fun. Not great on thin the fat, but boy does that thing bend, and is it lovely. Once again, gold nib. Or take something that's really super stiff, like the Pada Custom 823, a stiffer nib, but so much is transmitted through that gold nib into your hand. The texture of the paper, the slight little irregularities just go right into your hand when you're writing with it. Yet it's smooth, but you can feel texture. It's so magical. and that's gold. And then there's like the TWSBI nib, which is incredibly soft and smooth, and that's steel. So it's really tough to say who owns which category. Reflexively, I would say that gold nibs you can do more with. It's a softer material, it's more pliant, and it tends to bounce back, so you can do more. But for anything that I think that they can do, there is a steel nib that does it as well. So I wouldn't get too hung up on it. But there is that dollar amount, right? Where you say, well, do I want to pay X amount of dollars for a pen and it not have a gold nib? Would I buy a steel nib for $288? By the way, in my opinion, this is a video idea. Somebody write this down for me. In my opinion, $288 is a threshold in the fountain pen world. It's the most important price in the fountain pen world, in my opinion. $288. You know why that is? Because the Pilot Custom 823 sells for $288, and it's as good as any pen. So, any pen that I've written with so far. So, you can buy a Mont Blanc 149, but you don't have to. The 823 is awesome. It's $288. So, would I buy a steel nib? Are there any steel nibs over $288? I bet there are. But I'll be honest, I can't think of any. But it is, Pomaster got it, right? So Jessica Chow says, I found my steel Leonardo Momento Zero pens to be just as wet and smooth as same pen with gold nib. Exactly, Jessica. Exactly. Techno Raptor. Always love to see Techno Raptor. Having a gold nib, it is very soft. Indeed. So lots of good comments. I love you guys. You inspire me every day with interesting stuff. Jonathan Schuster. I see that heavier effect, especially at the sub 100-hour mark for pens. Lamy, I'm looking at you. You feel like Lamy's a heavy... Well, see, here's the thing, right? My Lamy nibs are... I have the cursive nib, and I have the calligraphy nib. So I've never written with a fine. And I don't say I never. I do have one, but I took it off to put the calligraphy nib on. So that's interesting. I wish maybe one day I'll put it on just to see. Ooh, Wolf is showing off with the fact that she has a music quill nib. That's cool. I'm looking for a vintage music quill because I don't know if the moderns are the same. I just don't know. I know that Sailor makes one, so I'd be curious. So, Evan Otto says, what does he say? He says, I don't know if it's supposed to do this. I think I'm putting this in the wrong spot. Sorry. But my Kaweco student does need some pressure to write, although my Lamy Safari doesn't. That's exactly what I mean. It shouldn't take pressure. It should be very light. There are ways to get it to open up, but if you go too far, it's hard to dial it back. So that's the one thing. But there are tutorials out there, but I won't be the one to tell you because I would hate to see you mess up your pen because of something I said. Shaq MD, friend of the channel, said the Demonstrator 823 plus Falcon nib from 743. Wow, that's pretty great. How did that work out? Is it hard to switch them? Because sometimes it's really hard to take the nib from a vac fill. So just be careful. I'm just curious what your experience was. I'm not going to do that. If I were to do that, I'd send it somewhere to have someone do it for me. I'm terrified of messing with sealed pens, nibs. I mean, I'll do TWSBIs and Lamys all day long, but the rest. Thomas Hickey says the cost versus attributes of a pen is generally front of mind for me. I believe about $500 should be a gold nibbed and have a non-converter ink system such as a piston or vacuum fill. Thank you. Great point. Excuse me. It's an hour, so I'm losing my voice. At what point do you demand a better fill system? Better, forgive me. I don't mean better. I just mean more sophisticated. You have a piston fill at $33 with a TWSBI Eco. Then when do you see it again? You have a vac fill in the Pilot Custom 823. You have the you have the TWSBI 700R with a vac fill. But yeah, when do you demand a piston fill? Pelican does it at $120 with a fantastic steel nib. By the way, the Pelican M205, that feels like a gold nib. And then you're like, ah. So Shaq MD says it's super easy. That's super fun. I would love to have the courage to do that, my friend. He says it's like uncapping a big pen. I hope you guys can see that. I can put the comments up on the screen. I can see them. I hope you guys can see them. So very, very cool. Oh, and Wolf is telling us that Platinum has a music nib, which is decent. That's good to know, because I would like to try one at some point. So, very interesting stuff. I love the interplay, you guys. I mean, I'm learning so much from you. Oh, thank you. Techno Raptor. I fear I scratched the finish on my gold nib though. The polishing might have been too abrasive. Super shiny though. Yeah, you know what? Don't worry about it. I mean, it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to hurt the performance. A couple of scratches. They get scratched anyway. Think of it as wabi-sabi. Lesson learned. Move on. It's okay. Eric Miller's here, ladies and gentlemen. Huge friend of the channel. Great to see you, Eric. Hello, everybody. I may be late, but I'm technically early for the replay. Well said. And I went over the hour mark. I was trying to keep these to an hour, but here we are. Here we are. Nice to see Eric. Jonathan Schuster says, Visconti needs to license their power filler system to others. It's the best I've ever used. Well, let me tell you something about Visconti. I think I am going to buy one at some point soon. As much as I talked earlier in this broadcast about not being materialistic, I'm just so curious. The lava pen, I held it in my hands at the pen show, and now I just want my own. So I just want to know what that's like. So that's going to have to happen soon. Christmas is coming up, I suppose. I could be patient. Gino, thanks for letting me know that you can see it on the screen. Simon Krupa got a free Platinum Preppy at the pen show, and honestly, it seems to write very well. I just got a Platinum Preppy. It's in a box. I haven't opened. It came a week and a half ago. I don't know if I've ever revealed this to you, but I'm going to tell you guys all a secret about me right now. That's probably not too surprising. I am a sucker for Japanese stationery. Sometimes jet pens. And I guess there's a channel I watch on YouTube. You guys watch jet pens? Oh man, you watch a jet pen video where they talk about all the latest in Japanese stationery. If you're not dropping $100 on jet pen's site 20 minutes later, there's something wrong with you, sincerely. So I didn't open it yet, but I have a box, and inside that box are a pair of scissors that go in a little tube, and you take the cap off, and then you pop these open, and it turns into incredibly sharp, small scissors the size of a pen. I have a template where you can make envelopes out of any paper. So if you had like really nice high cotton paper, thicker wrapping paper, or even a shopping bag or something, and you wanted to make an envelope out of it, you can just use this template, and it turns into an envelope. You can just glue it, and it's all set to go. It's so fun. And I think I got a ruler and a pen case and a Platinum Preppy because I didn't have one. And it popped up, and I'm such a sucker for these things, you guys. It said, you might be interested in this. And it was like Platinum Preppy. And I'm like, I am interested in this. And I bought it. So I have the box. And I haven't opened it. So Wolf watches Japanese stationery stuff all the time. Yeah, me too. Jessica does too. I have a cart full right at jet pens, right? Sincerely. Me too. I get really suckered in. And Pomaster does too. So I really need to open it. You know what the problem is sometimes with having a channel? Everything becomes an event. So I get a pen and I want to document it. And so I'm often doing unboxings either for TikTok or for here. And I wanted to photograph opening the Jet Pens box and I haven't. So it's just sitting there. So maybe I'll just crack it open. So it's good stuff. James Thomas Hickey. My first time in Japan in 1995, I went to a Japanese stationery store and have never felt as comfortable in a store before. I bet. That must have been fantastic. So I want to tell you guys some more stuff that's coming up. On TikTok, we're going to do a giveaway of an Esterbrook Camden fountain pen with an Esterbrook Write My Story journal, which I think I have. I do. Hold on a second. I don't have the pen because I'm journaling with it in the other room. But this is the journal, and it's fantastic. So we're going to give away a journal and a pen for Fountain Pen Day on TikTok. And here's the cool part. You have to tag a friend, but this time you and the friend you tag win it. So that'll be over on TikTok. Just so you know, I'm multi-platform, you guys, so you need to keep up. I'm on Instagram, Hemingway_Jones. I'm on TikTok, Hemingway Jones. And this is my home. I feel now YouTube is my home. Hemingway Jones on YouTube, where I hope you're all subscribed because you wouldn't want to miss anything. A lot of incredible stuff going on. Oh, Technoraptor asks, is everyone going to get this year's Diamine Ink Vent calendar? You know, they just got them in at Atlas Stationers. So if you guys are going to get it now before they go. So very, very cool stuff. So good stuff, you guys. Ooh, Wolf has a watercolor addiction. You know, my wife picked up a bunch of watercolors from the 70s that were all in pastel colors that came from Poland. That's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Simon Krupa is going for the Esterbrook Maui. The Maui's a beautiful pen. I mean, the cool thing about Esterbrook is all their finishes are amazing. So the pen themselves are sort of mid-century in their design, but their finishes make them thoroughly modern. This Nouveau Blue is one of the most beautiful finishes, and I have the SD Flex nib on here. Just a gorgeous pen, gorgeous nib, great writer. Love these. So, big fan of Esterbrook's. So, and we will have Brian Holzer on next week, 8 o'clock Tuesday night, for a interview, which I'm really excited about. I'm also excited about memberships, you guys. If you want to be a producer of this channel and get behind the curtain and hear me read journal entries and see some blooper tapes. This is all coming up. It's going to be on there. The Illuminati get an email address where you can email me and I'll see it right away. And lots of other goodies. And I'll try to keep making it interesting and put more and more stuff as time goes on because I really want it to be a value add for you guys. And if in any way you want something and you're curious about something, let me know. I'd be happy to see what I can do for you guys because interacting is the most fun for me with this, with all of you. Wolf is not getting the Advent, but will watch swatching videos. Well, you know, I'm curious about it myself, and here's the thing. It's a little bit of cliche if I get it and put content up based on it, like on TikTok. but it is 40 days of content. And as a content creator, forgive me for the term, they it's not bad to have something that forces you to do stuff, you know? Like I did how to write different letters and stuff. That was super fun. So maybe I should pick it up. I don't know. I have to think about it. Jim Carter's getting it. So, ooh, Judy already ordered hers. Good job. You're way ahead of us. You're way ahead of the curve. Good stuff. Eric Norris, do we know whose paper Esterbrook used in the journal? Is it Colorverse? That's a fantastic question. I'm going to see if it says. And then we can ask Brian next week. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, it does have some cool stuff here. So it does say, I don't know who this is, but it says Esterbrook and Betty Soldi. But I don't know if Betty Soldi is the one that did the writing. I need to read up on this. And maybe we'll ask Brian, but it's super cool. So there's a bit of story here. And there's a little guide to which nib is best for you, which is fun. There's a how to write your letters in modern calligraphy, which is cool. But here's the thing I really like. There's a page, like an index. So there's page numbers. So when you're done, you can go back and set your page numbers to things that happened. So like if your car broke down on page 119, you can write that in the thing. If you're get a promotion on page 177, you can write that. So just a really cool, fun, beautiful book that kind of matches their whole line with that British tan leather. So very cool. I'm a big fan, guys. Good stuff. Oh, Judy says they sell out quickly. They do indeed. Yep. If you guys want one, you need to get one. Okay, so Steven, have you ever tried a Smithson leather journal or Leathersmith journal? I have not. I have not tried those journals, I'm afraid. I bought a lot of journals in Venice. For years, I was using these that I bought at a stationery store in San Marco. So, and I was really big that every time I went to Venice, I'd stock up on stationery. I got this one there. And then I was buying some at Etsy. I bought this on Etsy. It looks like I got it in Venice, but I didn't. And then I started to buy Bottega Obscura, which is my favorite journal right now, and the one I keep going back to. So, I haven't tried those, though. Joseph Brown popping in to say hello. Hope all is well. I hope you're well. Nice to see you, my friend. Another person I met at the Pen Show. Great to see you. Thanks for commenting. So, lots of great stuff, guys. So, join the channel if you would, so we can talk over there. I hope you like the new software. I really wanted to get your comments up, and I feel like it's a value add for the channel. So, definitely interesting stuff, you guys. Naivete 72. I love the Fiorentina journals you use, and I'm hooked on them. I like those too. For the money, you can't beat them. I'll show you one. This was $55. It's super cool. It's decent paper, but it splays. But it looks cool, and it has a nice binder. This is a good journal. Well, I'll show you some of their other stuff. Is this one? Yes, here's one. I think this is really pretty. I love this. Is it feminine? Yeah, it's a little feminine. I'm fine with that. It's got a nice medieval binding, a little Botticelli on the cover. And it's all, you all can always tell it's Fiorentina because it'll say in the back. Handmade in Italy, Barnes & Noble. It's like 35 bucks. You can't beat that. This one is from 2008. Sorry, 2018. So, very cool. Benjo Markland. Love the show. Thank you very much, Benjo. I appreciate that. Do I journal throughout the day or only at certain times? Yes. I journal throughout the day anytime I feel anxious or if I feel like I need to write something down. If I have an idea for an article or something I want to do with you guys. Some of that I put in notes. If it's consumable, if it's something that I'm going to use and then discard. But if it's permanent and it's something I want to develop, it goes in my journal. So it really depends. But yeah, I'll write throughout the day. All my work associates know about my pens and my journals. They roll their eyes, but they all handle it fine. So, Wolf asks, what is the Etsy seller for my current one? So I'm going to show you the big one I'm about to use if you haven't seen it earlier, and that's this. So this is the larger size. I can't wait to use it. It's Bottega Obscura. So Bottega and then Obscura, Obscura. And incredible handmade journals by an Italian gentleman. Very nice fellow. Very nice. Here's another one with this Ouroboros on it. Fantastic. Just beautiful. Great work. Oh, and this one has brighter pages. So the other ones had the darker. This one has the brighter. So he can do it all. So good stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I am at the end of the road. My voice is about to give up, and I'm 20 minutes over the time I said I'd do. I try to keep these to an hour, but it's so much fun hanging out with you guys. You know how much I enjoy talking to you. And this, like, direct, where we can put your comments up and talk, is next best thing to having you guys in the room with me. So thanks very much. It's always a pleasure. Got great things coming up. A new video on Thursday. This is a good video. It's on the Pelican M600 Sovereign. It's filmed at the Boston Public Library. I think you're going to love it. It's got a little bit of heart in it. It has incredible settings, beautiful scenery, voiceover by me, and you get to see me in action all around the Boston Public Library. So I think you're going to dig that, which is very cool. I do appreciate that. And then also in a week, Brian Holzer will be our guest. So we're going to have at least a half hour with him. We'll have an interview and we're going to make sure he takes your questions. So have some really great questions. Thank you, Eric Miller. Thank you all. Always a pleasure. Judy, everyone, all the friends of the channel. You guys make this channel interesting. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all further up the road. Take care.